Well, today, yeah, tough subject. We're talking about the continuing impact of the pandemic on working moms. We're trying to get them back in the swing of things, and it's tough for all of us, including moms, especially moms. So let's talk more about this with Dr. Dana Sumpter, and she's going to give some advice on getting back to work and trying to get back to that normalcy, but it can be tough there. But you're going to make it easier on us, doctor. So tell us about some of the challenges women face as they look to re-enter the workplace.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Yeah, definitely some challenges that working moms and other kinds of caregivers continue to experience these days. The first one I would note is scheduling. That returning to the office means creating new routines, right? Reintroducing a commute, figuring out a new family schedule. And maybe you've got two partners in the household, which means you've got two new schedules to coordinate. So you're figuring out, again, who does what around the house, the kids' pickups and drop-offs. And so now when you've got these jobs that are changing again, that means figuring out new schedules. And as any household CEO will tell you, that's a lot to manage. There's also the challenge of uncertainty, that there's continued uncertainty around childcare and schooling. I know I'm not the only one who's had kids who had to stay home unexpectedly because of a simple little runny nose, meaning a few days at home until a negative COVID test or symptoms are completely gone. And that just completely disrupts plans for work. That's one of the many reasons why COVID has had an outsized impact on women.
Right, for sure, doctor. And what advice do you have for working moms that will help them successfully get back to work, returning to the office?
Sure. Yeah, definitely some things that we can do. I think the first suggestion is just to be really clear about your availability. Because one of the biggest changes we've experienced while working remotely is just being more available, right? My research on working mothers during COVID, a lot of them talked about shifting their work hours, waking up early before the kids were awake to salvage a few precious minutes of uninterrupted work time. But we can't have that constant availability anymore when we're returning to the office. So this is the time to be really proactive and clear around what you want your work hours to be. So that means letting others know when you need to be off the clock, because we all need to have some boundaries around our responsiveness. My second suggestion, I would say, really try to reclaim the joy of being back in person, that this is your opportunity to reconnect with people. For me as a professor, just a couple of months ago, I stepped back into the classroom with students for the first time in nearly 2 years. And I tell you, feeling that energy of being in the classroom with students again, it was great. I almost forgot how great it was. And so I think there are benefits to going back, like relationship building, better access to top clients and projects, innovation and collaboration that you just can't replicate over Zoom. So, schedule that lunch out, spend that time with a colleague. You're not only investing in your well-being, but also in your career networking opportunities.
Yeah, Professor, Doctor, I can't agree with you more. I mean, I love being back at work and just seeing my peers and my friends, and that's so important. It really is. That's what we're made for here, the relationships. Now, how can our companies that we work for, our organizations, help us facilitate that reentry into the workplace?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, Mike. Can't let companies off the hook. I think first, it's so important for managers and leaders to keep their finger on the pulse of how reentry is going, right? This is the time to listen, pay attention to how your folks are doing. So schedule those one-on-ones, conduct pulse check surveys, seek feedback from your employees. That way, managers can anticipate where there may be problems and also understand how to best support their folks, especially folks who have had different experiences than them. Second suggestion is for companies to really consider employees' holistic needs and how to support them holistically. The days are gone where we're just focusing on what happens at work. Because we all have had a great reckoning with what's really important to us. And increasingly, employees are just not willing to put up with bosses who ignore their family lives or their well-being needs. So I think it's so important to demonstrate that you care about employees holistically, provide those support policies, those structured opportunities to connect, maybe right-size performance expectations to acknowledge that things are still not normal. Third suggestion, I think, for companies is to kind of talk about the positives. No one likes to be forced to do anything. So as I'm hearing about mandates coming back to the office and all that, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way, right? Like, how about we attract people back to the office? So that means talking up how valuable it will be to collaborate with colleagues and set up ways to make the interaction happen. I think the best Mother's Day gift you could give to us working moms is to really listen to their needs, consider how you can best support them as they re-enter, and offer them the flexibility and control over their jobs that they really need these days.
I could not agree with you more, Doctor. Thank you so much. And where can folks go for more information on this?
Yeah, sure. I think, with any change, pay attention to mental health. So resources like NAMI.org, NAMI.org, or contact your healthcare provider. And obviously I'm very biased, but considering a higher degree is always a great way to jumpstart or revitalize a career or steer it in a new direction. So getting an MBA, master's in management and leadership, or some other higher level degree in your field, it's a great avenue towards those goals.
Right. Very good advice. Thank you so much for being on our show. And of course, check out our website for more on this, firstcoastliving.net.